Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back. My name is Alex and we are back on some Gotham Knights. Now the game is definitely in a pretty weird spot at the moment. We don't know whether or not we're getting more content. We don't know how many more patches we're going to get before they actually walk away from the game. But I will say that the game has been out for a little bit over 2 months, and some of that you can't really count because the holiday break. But I will say that I am fairly confident that we're going to get some more updates before these guys potentially walk away forever. Now when those patches may or may not come, who knows? They haven't told us anything. But just in case we do get any type of updates, just in case these guys are still watching forums, still watching videos and stuff like that on the game, here are some things I would like for them to add before they walk away forever. So without further ado, let's get into it. And first things first, one thing that they need to always be updating whenever they release a patch is optimization. Now the last patch kind of jacked up something on my computer. My game's been having a lot of crashes since the December update. Before that, it was perfectly fine. I maybe crashed like once or twice the entire all of October and November. So hopefully this is something that they could address sooner rather than later. Now the next thing that I would like to see them add is the ability to have multiple save files. The fact that we can only have one save is kind of insane. Now I know this isn't really a big deal for a lot of people, but some people have multiple people who play on the same console or the same PC. And there's also some people like myself who just like to start fresh games over every now and again just to get that, the initial gameplay experience without having all your power-ups and all your gear and all this stuff like that. But if you do that inside of Gotham Knights, it's going to delete your entire game save. There's no way to save it besides going into like your old files inside of your PC. And maybe you could do it on console, but that's a whole lot of extra work. That's stuff that you got to do outside the game. Hopefully they can add this feature. It's not like a super big deal breaker or anything like that, but it's pretty annoying. Another thing that I would like to see added is harder difficulty settings. Now I know some people already have some issues with the game, with it already being slightly too hard depending on what character you're using and what type of build that you got. But once you're in the end game, once you have some really powerful builds going, the game is just way too easy. Your guy is way too powerful. It's super hard for you to die. And just giving us some type of option to maybe even just customize our own difficulty, have a set of sliders. We can make certain things harder than others, certain things easier. Give us the ability to customize our own difficulty. Now there are some games that already do this. You have like Assassin's Creed, you have like Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Some of these games give you the ability to make the game more easy or harder. So some difficulty options would be appreciated. Now is something like this too big of an ask when most of the people are probably done working on the game and they're working on something else? Probably, but it's still something that I would like to see. And it's also something that would keep people playing this game for a longer time. And this goes hand in hand with the next item on my list, and that is giving us the ability to replay the story missions. Now some of these story missions actually have some pretty cool set pieces and making the enemies harder, giving us some type of modifiers to go through them again. And if you ever played something like Destiny 2, they have their legendary campaign missions, which are pretty much just the campaign missions, but harder. They've got modifiers. But the thing with Destiny is there's no real reason to actually run those besides getting like a title. However, in Gotham Knights, there's a whole bunch of gear drops that they could add inside this, I guess in heroic story mode or something like that. They could put some of the most wanted enemies in there that are scattered around the open world. They could put those guys to story missions. They can make specific legendary armor and guns drop from, certain stages. That way you're just not running around like a chicken with your head cut off, looking for certain gear pieces. There's a lot of things that they could do with a mode like this. And if something like this was already implemented in the game at launch, this would have been an easy slam dunk for more longevity of the game. But we don't have it in the game. Would have been nice, but it is what it is. Now, staying on the topic of gear, we need a way to track what gear each character has. And I know that there are some spreadsheets and everything out there that kind of sort of, tell people where to go for certain items and for certain gears. Now, if this was a larger game like, Elden Ring or Destiny 2 or Diablo or something like that, where you could go to, external websites to have everything you need to know about the game, then maybe this current system would work. But as of right now, the player base for Gotham Knights isn't that huge. So adding something like this inside the end game menus, just telling you where to go and who to beat up to get certain gears, I think that would help this game out a whole lot. And a system like this would just take all the guesswork out of farming gear. We would know which character has what gear, where it drops from, And this doesn't even really have to be an end-game thing. If they just put a post on, maybe Twitter or inside their Discord, just give us a list of all the gear that every character has. And I feel like the community would do the rest. And speaking of the community, the next thing that I would like to see them add is something that I know is possible because, games like Fallout have done it, games like Skyrim have done it, and that is giving mod support to consoles, man. There's so many dope mods on PC. It always makes me sad when people leave comments on my videos asking me what suit I'm wearing, what gear is that? And I'm just like, I play on PC, it's a mod. Now, of course, I don't know how the infrastructure of this game actually works, but I know Skyrim does it, I know Fallout does it. There are a couple other games out there that have mod support on console. If there's any way they can implement this would be a great way to, leave the game off, because most games that are, mainly focused around single players, they have so many mods once the game actually loses support from the actual developers. Most of the games that I play on PC right now have super crazy mod support, man. The modding community is super amazing. I love those guys. And oftentimes, besides just, adding skins and cosmetics and stuff like that, sometimes they even mod features into the game that weren't there at launch. So this would be an absolute game changer if somehow they got mod support on consoles. Fingers crossed for this one. I don't think it's highly likely, but you never know, man. One could hope. Now, next up on the list is a pretty short one, and this is probably the most possible thing on this list to be accomplished, and that is to just give us the option to turn off the HUD. I know before the game came out, they were saying how customizable the HUD was, and I will give them that. There are a bunch of options for the HUD, except for options to turn off the HUD. There are certain times where you pick up loot off the ground and your whole screen is just filled up with pop-ups, like the menu that's on the top left whenever you're doing like encounters and stuff like that. Give us the ability to turn off everything except for our HP bar and our momentum meter. That's pretty much all we need. I feel like the game will look a lot cleaner. So please just give us the option to turn off all those pop-ups, everything. And even if you want to turn off the HP bar and the momentum meter bar, give us that option as well. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that is already in the game, but the mode is just implemented poorly, and that is going to be the training mode inside the Belfry. Now, for what it is right now, it's pretty much just a tutorial showing us how to use, all of our abilities, but we're still missing the option to just be able to load into the training simulator and actually simulate combat. And what I mean by that is give us the ability to load in whatever enemy types we want to practice up against, whatever types we want to, test out a build up against. Give us options to adjust damage, HP, momentum, regeneration rate, whatever, all of that stuff. Pretty much a developer toolkit inside the training room. Give us a way to test out our characters without having to go to the open world or heroic assault. Now, last but not least is something that's probably never going to drop inside this game unless it drops alongside some type of DLC, and that is going to be a challenge mode. So I know a lot of people like to compare this game to Arkham, which I don't really understand why. Like, I know they're both Batman games, but one thing that Arkham did so well, at the end of the game, you had access to all those challenges, all those scenarios. You were able to get, better scores and stuff like that. Now, pretty much if Gotham Knights would just copy and paste that system and drop it right into the game, that would be an easy slam dunk for in-game content. You can maybe add some skins in there, add some special rewards, maybe even have a leaderboard. Because although I don't agree with the people who try to compare this game to, Arkham Knight, because the two games are just completely different, this system, the challenge mode system from the Arkham games, that is something that this game would absolutely benefit from having. Now, I know it would play completely differently because the two games just have completely different combat systems, but all in all, this would be a big W. So if they ever do a DLC and they don't know what to add inside, alongside the DLC, they should definitely try to craft a challenge mode. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, the chances of us getting an update are not zero. The game has only been out for about 2 months, so I don't think that they're just going to cut and run. But as of right now, nobody outside of their game studio knows where this game is heading. Now, that being said, if it's, like 4, 5, 6 months down the line and we still haven't heard anything back, we haven't gotten any more patches, then I would say that we are done with all the support from this game, all the content, all that stuff like that. But On the flip side of that, if you guys were around, before this game launched, they didn't tell us anything until right before the game launched. We didn't hardly know anything about the game, and I do believe that's one of the reasons this game got so much hate, right from the start, is because their promotion, all their marketing, all that stuff was terrible, dude. I don't know who was in charge of that, who, ran that whole campaign, but they did a terrible job letting people know exactly what this game was. So if we ever do get DLC for this game, we're probably not going to know until literally like a week, maybe 2 weeks before it releases, unless they actually learned their lesson from the launch of the game. Now, with all that being said, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that shenanigans down below. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about the current state of the game. Are you still playing it? Are you still holding out hope for, future support? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.